everybody, welcome back to Coven of the Curious. I'm Jess and this is Amy. I know we've been gone for a while, lots of personal stuff, life just kind of got in the way for a while there, but hopefully you missed us a little bit, I don't know. But today we're here with another ghost stories from Reddit. We have not read any of these stories all the way through, so we're in for a wild ride. We're going to react to them kind of as we read them, so they may be great, they may be terrible. We're hoping that at least some of them are good, but you might be in for one of those videos where you're like, why did you talk about any of this stuff? We're going to find out.
Hence the iPad. So I'm just going to be reading for us today. Right. This first one is called Growing Up in Scotland.
Ooh, already spooky.
I grew up in a large old house in rural Scotland during the 1980s. The house had a long, steep footpath from the gate to the house, up a slope too steep for a car. We used to have milk delivered between 5 and 6 a.m. by the local milkman.
How old is this person? Or is that just normal in Scotland?
Girl, during the 1980s.
Still?
I don't know.
In the 1980s, they were delivering milk to the door?
Apparently.
Weird.
Now I have to find out where I was.
Sorry.
Right. After a while, they stopped delivering to the doorstep, and they just dropped it at the bottom gate. My mom asked why, and the milkman said his lad was scared of the gardener. We didn't have a gardener, and my mom didn't push back or question it, simply putting it down to the lazily milkman's lad or them wanting to speed through delivery. A few months went past, and my brother had a friend over to play. His friend told my mom that Sandy's grandpa is in the front garden. He's just standing there with his fork, not saying anything. My mom wondered who it was, walked around the house, saw nothing, asked what he looked like, and had a description of the man. He had a white beard, a tweed bonnet, worn tweed clothing and trousers held up by tied string. My mom thought it sounded like the village alcoholic and mentally diminished man. Mentally diminished isn't interesting.
Yeah, that's a term.
Who did odd jobs, known as Billy. Everyone knew Billy. And my brother's friend said, no, Billy doesn't have a beard. My mom said, of course he does. Maybe it's somebody, maybe it's him, maybe it's somebody else. Other than the beard, this was a pretty good description of Billy. My mom thought nothing more about it. About 6 months later, we had swapped to a new dairy delivering to us from a town about 10 miles away because Mom was fed up with collecting milk from the gate. After a few weeks, there was a smashed bottle on the doorstep, and then they stopped delivering. Same as before. My mom phoned up to speak to them, and they said they'd speak to the lad doing the run, an 18-year-old. He told them he was scared by the old man gardening and was sorry for smashing the bottle. He startled him by standing over him. This time, my mom asked what he looked like, and was given the same description as my brother's friend gave. Old man with a beard, wore a cap and old tweeds. There are, of course, lots of plausible explanations, but there's one thing I can't explain, because the milkmen wouldn't have known each other, and my brother's friend, who was about 10, didn't know the milkman either. So there's no way that they would all say the exact same thing. There were no other incidents in the 15 years that we lived there after that. My dad was a local doctor and ex-military man, being very much a scientist, even set up little trigger traps with fishing lines and tent pegs to see if they would be disturbed by someone passing through the garden. But they were never triggered. No idea if it was an actual old man who gardened or whatever. I'm not religious and don't believe in fairies, but this is the closest I've come to it.
What does that have to do with fairies?
Yeah, the fairies threw me off at the end. That's why I was like, what?
Is that like Scottish for ghost? They think the fair folk are ghosts?
Or he's just a little garden gnome man.
Maybe. I like to believe that it was just actually an old man.
Why would he be doing the gardening?
Because he was just like, you know what? I'm tired of looking at this shit garden. Somebody has to do it. I'm going to be the one to do it.
And he hated milkmen?
No, he just was spooky in his general air.
Fair.
He was an angry old man. So he'd come at them because he was just like, get out of here. I'm trying to garden.
Get out of not my property.
Get out of this other person's yard that I've invaded. That's how I like to imagine it.
I mean, fair.
Because otherwise, I mean, it could be a ghost, but there's no like background. There's no, oh, my grandfather looked like that, or like a guy in the village who died a couple years earlier looked like that, or the guy who used to own this house looked like that, or anything like that to indicate like who that ghost would be. So I like to imagine it was just a grumpy old man who was tired of looking at a shitty garden.
Fair. I also feel like if it was a ghost, why would you be gardening?
Well, maybe that was his best, like, that was how he loved to spend his time. It was a garden.
But like you probably would have heard around the town, like you mentioned, of like, oh, the gardener man who died.
Yeah, that's true. The guy who kept the town gardens or something
Yeah.
like that. Or like the guy who always won Gardener of the Year died, and that's what he looked like. He had a long white beard and always wore tweed.
Like, is tweed uncommon?
In Scotland, I don't think so.
Right? That's why I'm like...
Especially in like the 80s.
Yeah.
It's uncommon now. Maybe not even in Scotland. It might still be common in Scotland. It's uncommon here now. But in the 80s, it was very common. And in Scotland, I think it might even still be common.
Fair. Plus, fashion is cyclical, so...
It's true.
It'll be back.
Absolutely true.
It's always back.
I don't know. Tell us what you guys think. Is it a ghost, or is it just an old man who was tired of looking at a shitty garden?
Or a gnome.
Or a gnome.
He could be
He
there.
could be, or like, this is Scotland. He could be a fair folk, yeah. Or like what are those things in Brave? They're just like lights that she follows. What are they called?
I know exactly what you're
Will-o'-the-wisps.
There we go.
It could be a will-o'-the-wisp. Because
Yeah.
Scotland's known for its folklore.
Also, Iceland is known a lot for their kind of like folklore about little gnomes. When I was in Iceland, there was actually like multiple hills where they're like, what you do is you go up there and then you can talk to the gnomes and stuff. And I'm like, I'm okay.
Oh, I would have gone for sure. Try and find a gnome.
I was like, I have other things to look at, thank you.
Oh, I would have tried to find a gnome.
That's
Absolutely. It's like when I was in Scotland, I splish-splashed around in Loch Ness trying to find the Loch Ness Monster.
Well, yeah, duh.
It was awesome. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Alright, I've got another one here called It Wasn't the Pipes. Do-do-do. I was just gonna see how long you were gonna go. I was like, I'll wait.
I ran out of breath.
For context, I was about 13 years old when all this started. I've always had vivid memories of when I was a child, remembering things as far back as 3 or 4 years old. I had just turned 14, and it was a chilly January Thursday night when we moved in to a much bigger house than our last. We needed the room after all. Having 7 kids wasn't easy on my parents.
Jesus.
My little sister, Nevy, had an imaginary friend, Paul, but nobody thought anything of it, of course. The first night, I was organizing my shoes and putting all my posters in my room, all alone, when she was walking around looking at my stuff. She then said, Paul would like your closet. He likes you. I barely gave it any notice, because she would say stuff like that all the time, and apparently Paul had always lived in my closet for some reason. She was only 7, so I just brushed it off. But just when I was dozing to sleep in my new bed, I heard something in the corner of my room, like a tapping or creaking noise. Then my Rottweiler sitting on the end of my bed stood up and started growling. I ignored it as I thought it was just the pipes or something, so I flipped over in my bed. I then felt the feeling of somebody sitting on the end of my bed. I thought it was just one of my sisters climbing in. Sometimes they did that when they couldn't sleep. So I ignored it until I felt that I couldn't any longer. The thing laid down behind me, and in the corner of my eye, I saw a dark shadow-like hand hover over my waist. I moved to get a better look, as I don't feel like someone's touching me. Then it feels as if in record time, it gets off my bed in less than a second as I'm turning over. I see nothing, of course, but then I hear my closet door open and shut loudly from the other side of my room, and the clothes hangers rattle. And I remembered, Paul said that he liked my closet.
I'm not spooky.
I don't like closets. I've never liked closets.
I have been freaked out by closets since I was a child. What is it about closets? And I think in that one video we did, if you've watched it, you will have already heard this story. But I had a closet when I was a kid that used to just like slowly creak open. And it was absolutely terrifying, to the point where I had my dad like take out the door and cut a hole so that my closet was just like one big open thing that had curtains, because I was so sick of that door just like slowly creaking open in the middle of the night.
So fair.
And I was confident that a ghost lived in there. I don't know why I thought that curtains were going to keep a ghost in better than the door was, but like, I don't know, it made sense to me at the time.
When I moved to one of my houses growing up, my brother and I had the option of 2 different rooms, and one of them was slightly bigger. And I was originally, that was going to be my room, but then I knew that in the closet had the access to the attic, and I was like, absolutely fucking not. I do not want that shit nowhere near me. What if somebody lives in the attic and then they come into the house through my closet? No, absolutely, I refuse.
Yeah, that's fair.
Closets that have attic access freak me out the most.
Yeah, in my childhood home, it was a closet that like wasn't in a bedroom. It was like a linen closet type situation.
It was everybody's bedrooms growing up for some reason. Like all of the houses, like Shannon's and everybody's was like that too.
Our house, it's in the bedroom, but it's not in a closet. It's just right in the center of the ceiling.
Oh, that's crazy.
But yeah, closets are terrifying. Let us know if you think closets are terrifying, and if you have any stories about like weird shit that ever happened in your closet. Because yeah, there's something about that story that really like made me tingle a little bit, where it's just like, oh, spooky closet stories.
Yeah, no. Closets are, no thank you. In every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Get out of the closet, guys.
And also, little girls with imaginary friends freak me right out. I get
it. Yeah, that's true. I'm grateful that none of my siblings either told me about their spooky experiences or didn't really experience that much.
I mean, we had an imaginary friend, but like I said, it was the name and the appearance of the little girl who died in that house, so I'm pretty sure that wasn't imaginary. I've never known, I remember I tried to have an imaginary friend when I was a kid. Like, I actively would, like, try and create them, and it didn't work, because that's just, like, not how it goes. And so kids with imaginary friends freak me out, because it's probably a ghost.
Probably. Yeah, my brother and I tried to have imaginary friends, but we, like, never saw them or, like, spoke to them or anything. But, like, when we were on, like, road trips, we would be like, oh, yeah, our friends are just in the car behind us, kind of thing. But we wouldn't see a car.
Yeah.
But no, it's always the creepiest when they, like, turn and look and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do it.
And apparently we used to do that when I was, like, really little.
No.
We used to do that. And we would have, like, full-blown conversations where it seemed like there was a response. And we would, like, pause and wait for their response and then respond back to them. And, like, sometimes we would get mad at them and sometimes we would be like, haha, that's a funny joke. Like, apparently we did that whole thing. And that was when I was really little. When I was older, when I was, like, 8 years old, that's when I was like, I missed that friend. So I was like, I'm going to make an imaginary friend. Mm-hmm. And you can't. That's just not how it works. So that's why I believe that imaginary friends are actually ghosts.
Oh, probably. 100%.
Because you can't just, like, imagine them up. That's not, it doesn't work that way. You forget. I don't even remember the names of the imaginary friends I made up. But I remember the one that I had. Yeah.
No, me and my brother's imaginary friends were just called Invisible Boy and Invisible Girl.
Yes.
Because they, like, you couldn't remember anything about them.
Exactly. Because you can't really, like, imagine up a friend. You could only have a ghost friend. Mm-hmm. Like Emily.
Shout out Emily.
Shout out to Emily. The ghost that still stalks me to this day.
Yeah, you just have to keep bringing her up. We have to appease her.
Probably.
Probably. You're like, yeah, actually, you know what?
Likely. She's like, you're talking about ghosts and you're not going to talk about me? How dare you?
She is the little
Shit
ghost
starts
in our
fucking moving around.
We don't know the name. There's like a screen behind the camera. Her name just pops up on the screen.
I would legitimately shit my pants.
That's incredibly fair.
I would leave.
You'd be
like, I'm fucking out of here.
I don't have a house anymore.
Yeah, I'm done. That's it. Goodbye. Burn it all down.
Jesus. All right. Here's another one. It's called My Dead Aunt Made Me and My Dad Breakfast. My aunt passed away in the mid-90s from a brain tumor. I was in the 3rd grade and this hit me particularly hard, partially because she was awesome, and partially because it was the first adult who I was close to who had died in my life. We traveled from my home in Maryland to Manitoba for the funeral. As a kid, my dad and I were always ones to keep waking up like, what? As a kid, my dad and I were always ones to keep waking up like we were still on our time zone, no matter where we are.
I think what they're trying to say is that, like, even though it's 6 a.m. where you are, you wake up at 8 a.m. because that's what you're used to.
Okay. So they just didn't transition.
Yeah,
very well.
they
Makes
jet
sense.
lag really hard, I think is what she's trying to say.
Yeah, that sentence just hurt my brain. Anyways, throw in the fact that we were there for a fairly upsetting funeral. This meant we were up way earlier than everyone else in the house. My aunt and uncle's house was, as memory serves, a pretty amazing, modern, for the time, house. The kitchen and dining room were lofted over a huge open living area. Once you made it all the way to that lofted area, there was a smaller family room with a TV, a more formal dining room, a galley kitchen, and a diner-style banquet? What is that fucking word? How do you say
Banquet.
That's how you spell banquet?
I
Damn.
think they're trying to spell banquet, but they spelled it wrong.
Okay, because that looks like it's a bad word, guys.
There's an extra T and E on the end. I think they're trying to say banquet.
Okay. Or it's something and we just don't know what
Or
it
it's
is.
something I've never heard of.
With a fish tank behind it. It was a rad house. As I made my way up the stairs to the loft, I could hear the TV and found my dad watching a very bad, very forgettable Boris and Natasha movie. This was the morning of the funeral and the day that we would inter her ashes, so we weren't up to chatting too much. We watched the movie for a while, and then, we watched the movie for a while as though everything was normal. My Aunt cheerily popped out of the kitchen and asked what we wanted for breakfast. I'd like to be very clear, nothing initially felt wrong at all. We didn't freak out, not even a side eye was exchanged. We just answered her, and she went back out of view and started making breakfast. I remember smelling bacon. I remember being on my knees in the banquet. Looking at the fish, and then looking to my right and seeing her busily making breakfast for us in the kitchen. Eventually, I made my way back over to the couch, and around that time, more people started coming upstairs. Only then, when the next person came upstairs, did my dad and I look at each other in shock, as though a veil had suddenly been lifted. No bacon had been made, no mess in the kitchen, no nothing. My dad and I never had the chance after that to say anything about it right away, and it slowly became a memory that got filed away. Fast forward to college, where all of a sudden, one night, all of the details of this come rushing back to me. It seems a little suspect, so when I was home for Christmas, I asked my parents, and I say to him, "Weird question, Dad, but did you see Aunt Blank's ghost?" "Yes, and I don't want to talk about it." Based on my mom's look of shock and befuddled, "What?" It was pretty clear he'd never said anything about it to her either. That was it for a while. Jump forward a few more years, he apparently did talk to my mom and one of their family friends. Apparently this story was a huge relief to her and her daughter, because unbeknownst to us, a day or two before the funeral, her daughter had been at a mall and saw my aunt across a busy shopping crowd, smiling and waving to her, before inexplicably vanishing in the hubbub. We didn't talk about it much, and I think it upset and unnerved my dad for valid reasons, but I was happy to know that I hadn't made it up, and thought it was an odd but nice way to remember her.
I feel like I would have brought it up immediately.
Yeah, there's no way I would have been like,
forget about it and remember it.
"Did you
in
just
college."
smell that bacon?"
Yeah, I'd be like, so, we need to have a conversation about what just happened.
Yeah.
Because that was fucking wild.
Like, if it's to the point where you're like, you both saw her and you could smell food and shit, bro, what is
And you responded to her. Like,
Yeah.
you both out loud responded to her.
Like, bro, what type of psychotic break?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good one. I actually really like that one because it's just like, you know, more than one person experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't in the middle of the night when they were asleep, so you don't feel like, oh, it was just a dream. You just had one of those like half awake dreams that feels really real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somebody had just passed away, and somebody else in the family also saw her, but in a different location. I like that one. I thought that one was really good.
I agree. I think, I don't know. guess I never thought about ghost experiences having a smell before.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess that makes sense. And like people will talk about sometimes like smelling somebody's like perfume that have passed and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I for some reason just like forgot that you could smell.
Full stop. I forgot that you could smell. I forgot that was a thing that people could do.
Yeah, obviously.
No, I thought that was like a really good aspect of the story is the fact that they could smell the breakfast cooking and they could hear the sounds of the breakfast cooking. And I think it was really interesting that like it just happened in a way that neither one of them realized what was going on right away until everybody else started waking up and they were like, wait, it just occurred to me why we're here, like where we are and why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't make any sense. And I thought that was really good.
I agree.
That was a spooky one. Tell us what you guys think of that one.
Yeah. I think though we're going to call it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching, especially if you've made it all the way to the end of our video. We really appreciate you clicking on our video out of all the videos that are out there for you to watch. We're going to try and be back in full force this time and be posting regularly like we used to. Comment down below what your favorite story was, if you have any spooky stories of your own that you want to share. Like this video if you liked this video, yeah. And hopefully we'll make some more. Let us know if you want to see some more spooky videos from Reddit. Anything you want to add? I know we mentioned a little while ago that we were thinking about vlogging like our craft business. We did do about 3 minutes total of that. But and then we got really cold.
Yeah.
And then it got really, really cold outside and we got really distracted and just kind of forgot.
So if you would like, we can either upload those 3 minutes by themselves as here's a tiny little vlog, or we're going to another event. Is it next week or the week after?
The week after next. This is the second Friday, I think, of every month.
But we're going to be doing that again. So if you'd like, we can just shove that into that video. And we'll try to actually do better this time. We'll
actually vlog for real this time.
All right. But besides that, have a wonderful day. And thank you again.
Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye. Come on.